Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my garage. This is where all the outdoor plants get overwintered if they need to be overwintered. So first of all, I want to apologize if you're not able to see really well. I do have some lights on, but the weather is pretty gloomy today, so I apologize ahead of time if you're not able to see as well. And well, it is February. So February, if you live in the same growing zone, the same growing environment as me, is a good middle of the road time frame to do a check-in on the lemongrass if you have been overwintering your lemongrass in the garage or in another protected environment or space. So first we'll look at the lemongrass plants that were dug up and placed in containers, and then we'll look at the lemongrass plants that were placed in the container originally. Finally, we'll look at the lemongrass plants where individual stalks were placed into containers. And as we are looking at the individual stalks of lemongrass, I will show you how you can tell which ones are still alive and which one are not, and what to do with the ones that are not. Also, we'll touch on watering and maybe some other hints and tricks as well along the way. Now, if you don't live in the same growing zone or the same growing environment as me, I hope this video will help you out as well. Hopefully there will be something that you can get from this video. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Just kidding. So before we get started, I wanted to say that this year's lemongrass, the way that the plants are looking right now, is not indicative of what they have been in previous years. The reason is because I was expecting our freezing temps, the first day of freezing temps, to be a lot sooner, sometime in late October or early November, but it didn't happen until probably, I feel bad that I didn't record it. I think it was close to 3 weeks before we got our first freeze compared to the previous year. So what happened was I had the lemongrass plants all ready to be overwintered. They were just to the left of me there, but because we had a warm fall, the lemongrass plants were putting on new growth as they were sitting out there. So a lot of what you're seeing is really not going to be typical of what it has been in the previous years. But I will show you the ones that typically look like they should be looking like at this point in time. All right, let's first look at this one. This was a lemongrass plant that was dug up and placed in this container. So you can see it's putting on nice growth right now. But again, this is not typical. So this was the only one that I dug up actually. So let's move on. This was an actual container lemongrass, and it is flushing really well as well. And this is the other container. This is the original container lemongrass. So you can see it is doing good as well. Again, this is not very typical of what it has been in previous years, but you can see doing really good. All right, so before we take a look at the individual stalks of lemongrass, I wanted to share that there are at least 80 stalks total. And I assessed all of them already just a few minutes ago, and most of them do look good. There's a few that I think they're not alive anymore, and I'll show you how to tell whether your lemongrass stalks are still alive or not. All right, let's take a look at this container. You notice there are two different colors, green and brown. So just expect that. So you can see that the outer leaf or the outer covering, say this one right here, is brown. So this is gone, this is dead. But as you go farther in, you see green. So that's a good sign that it's still alive. Here's another brown on the outside and green. And that's how you can tell it's alive. Now, there's another way that you can tell that it's alive, especially if you see that it's all brown for the most part. So you see here, it's brown right there. It's also brown right here. But as you go in, you see that it's starting, you can see that there's still green there. So let's just say you keep going and you only see brown. The next thing that you do is you're going to do the touch test. So you go like this, or touch or pinch, you go like this, and if you still feel firmness, that means the stalk is still alive. So if I go like this, it's very firm, it's very hard, so I can tell that it's still alive. Let me see if the lighting is better. Okay, let's show you this one. All right, you can see that it's brown here, brown here. You can see that I don't see any green anywhere, even right there at the tip. So everything is brown. So if I do the touch test, give it some pressure, and I feel squishiness. There's no hardness to it. It feels squishy. Like you would be able to tell. Like if you go like this, it's very firm. But if you do this, it's very squishy. You can even do this, and it just falls. It's flexible. It like folds over. Versus this one, you won't be able to do it. This is a leaf, so of course it can bend easily. Let's do this stalk. See, it's hard to bend. So to me, what I do now is I go down to where there's still some hardness. So as I go down, I still don't feel it. There's no hardness. So what I'm going to do is just pull it out. And if I pull it out, you see there's still green right here somehow. So let's go a little farther. So it is kind of hard right here. It's still firm. So to me, it's still alive, thank goodness. It could be that it got overwatered, and especially this particular one, and it kind of got rotted. That's my thinking, but it's kind of hard to tell what is going on. But you can see there's some root right there. So because I still feel firmness right here, I'm going to let it go. What I can do too is I'm going to cut it down to here, somewhere down to where my fingers are. So all I have to do is just stick it back, but I'll go and get something to cut it later. Let's see this one. This one is the same thing. I don't feel any firmness at the top, so let's pull it out. Nothing, it's just squishy. All right, just squishy. So again, I'm not sure what was going on. It could be that there was not enough root base right here to support root growth. It could be that it just got too wet. The actual plant here, the actual stalk got too wet. It could be a number of things. But as you can see, well, you probably cannot see or cannot tell, but I can tell on my end here that it is squishy. The only place that is hard is like right here where the base of the root machinery is. So I can safely say this stalk is a goner. It's not alive anymore. So what you can do is you can go ahead and discard this, or if you wanted to test it out, you can put it back in there, cut it very short and see. But just through experience, I know that this plant is gone, so I'm just going to go ahead and discard it. And if you're worried about plant health, like disease and all that, you can go ahead and toss it. Now, I've gone through a whole overwintering season without doing anything to these lemongrass plants in general. So, and I have not seen any disease issues with the lemongrasses so far. So just to be safe, you can go ahead and discard it, and that's what I'll do too. I'll go ahead and discard it. All right, so here's a third one that I think is gone as well. So it's squishy, the inner core is still brown. So we'll just pull this out too. This is a very small one. So this is a very small one that I think I may have just put in there just to see. So this one did not make it. It's brown and there's no firmness either. The whole thing is squishy. So this one is a goner as well. And I will go ahead and toss this away as well. All right, so here's that lemongrass stalk. And I'm just gonna go down to where there's still some hardness, probably just right here where the green is still at. And let's look at it. So you can see there's brown, so it's still dead right there. So let's keep going. Brown. Well, this is probably not a good example, but there's still firmness here, but it looks like it's rotted. It's very full of water. So let's go down some more. It almost looks like that it's on its way out. I mean, there's still some sign of life around the outer right here, and its firmness is very deceiving. So I am going to assume that it is still alive, but it's kind of hard to tell. And look at this. It's kind of like rotting away a little bit right there. So this is not a good example, but it looks like there's still some firmness in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick it in there and make sure that I do not water this at all and just let it sit there in dry soil. All right, so maybe I should not say dry soil. I just mean, I think you know what I mean. I'm just going to put it in this container right here, which is on the drier side. It's not like really wet. Stick it in there like that, and hopefully I will see something, but I highly doubt it, just because look at the on the inside. I've never experienced this before, so this is quite new for me as well. It's interesting that there's still firmness around the outside, and that's deceiving because the outside is still, there's still some life there, but the inside you can see it's rotting away already. So we'll just leave it like that and see. So as mentioned earlier, this is typically not what my lemongrass looks like in the garage in previous years that I have been overwintering them. So typically they would look more like these guys. Just like that. Just a little bit of leaves peeking through like these guys. Like this. So no leaves coming through yet in previous years. Not something like this, or like this, or like this. So let's talk about watering now. So as mentioned, you don't want to overwater the lemongrass, because when you place it in, you know, in a garage to overwinter or in another protected structure, it's just laying dormant, just kind of existing, just maintaining its homeostasis. So let me prove it to you. So this container is pretty much dry. Maybe if you go down farther, I can tell you, maybe right. Nope, still kind of dry. I'm pretty sure it's very dry, but look at the lemongrass, still very green. This whole plant is pretty much alive, I'm pretty sure there's some stalks, small stalks here and there that are not alive, but the whole plant, you can see, is still alive and is very dry. So the take-home message is do not overwater your lemongrass. If anything, it's probably so much better if you underwater it, because again, you don't want the stalks to be rotted away. And finally, I think it's a good idea and very wise if you live in the same growing zone, same growing condition as me, to overwinter your lemongrass either in an unheated garage like I do here or another protected structure, because your success rate is so high. They really don't need much care. Just know the more lemongrass stalks you overwinter, the more lemongrass plants you're going to have to, to grow during the growing season. So with that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. And until the next one, take care and bye for now. Well, thank you again for watching the video. If you would like to support my channel, please subscribe and watch some of the other videos. The video links are up above for you. So with that, thank you so much in advance. Take care and bye for now.